Hi everyone, in this video, you will learn to convert strings with numbers to a different data type, as well as learning to format strings using the F strings from Python 3.9. Okay, let's talk about conversion of strings that comes with numbers. Let's create a variable called string, alright, and let's create a string that comes with number, and I'm going to put number 25, okay, bounded by the quotation mark. So if we use the type function to check on this variable, it will return to us a string class of object, right? Now, to change this string class that contains number to a different data type, say an integer data type, okay, we can use this integer function. All right, and this integer function is also a built-in function in Python. So all we need to do is to put the string, all right, within the integer function and convert them into a proper number. So I'm going to save, or I'm going to assign int as a variable name to contain this integer after the conversion. And I'm going to print out using type method to check the class of object after conversion. All right. So let's take a look at the results once we execute line 20 to 24. Okay, so as you can see, line number 24 will return the class of object as integer after we use this integer function. So if you take a look at integer function, it simply explains convert a number or a string to an integer. So note that integer returns a number that does not contain zero. Does not contain decimal, because integer is basically a whole number. All right. Now, when a string contains a number that carries, say, let's say a decimal like this, okay, converting it with integer will throw an error. So let's take a look at what I mean. Okay, so if this string contains 25.50, and when we use int function to convert each string in this way and execute the code, you can see that it returns a error called the value error. All right, it is not able to convert something that comes with decimal into an integer. Okay, so one way to get around it is to use another built-in function that can return a potential number that comes with decimal places, okay, using this float function. So let's convert it and save it as another variable called float. And let me just comment line 23. And once again, let's print out the type of class, the type of class. Let's print out using type function to check the class of this object. Okay, so let's execute the code line 20 to 27. So as you can see, the conversion is successful because float accepts a decimal places, and therefore the conversion is successful, so it does not throw us any error. Okay, so what is the purpose of a conversion then? Okay, sometimes we might want to do some mathematical operations with a number, but when a number comes as a string, then Python will not be able to do that. In fact, Python will throw us an error if, for example, we try to use 25.5 to divide by 5 or to add a 5. Okay, if it's a string, then it is not possible to do so. So this is where conversion becomes handy. And let's take a look at an example. For example, I have float. And let's say I want to use float, and let's say I want to divide it by 5. So I can use this division operator, which will divide this 25.5 by 5. Okay, and let me just print out, okay, this statement or this expression and see what it returns. Okay, so I'm going to comment out line 21 and let's run this code, and you can see that in this case it works because 25.5 divided by 5 will return 5.1. Now if we use this same division operator on a string, Python will throw us an error, and let's take a look at the error. Okay, so take a look at the error. The error once again produce a type error, and it says that this is an unsupported operand, all right, for a string. All right, so this is an operand. It does not support a division, okay, for a string, and this is what it means. Okay, I hope I've given you some understanding of the purpose and the purpose of converting strings that comes with numbers to a different data type or a number data type. Now let's move on to talk about formatted strings. Okay, now I'm going to possibly comment out all these 3 different lines so we won't see any prints. All right. Okay, let's create 2 variables, and first I'll call this Tony, and I'll create another variable called age, and now I'm not bounding it with a quotation, so this will remain a number data type. Okay, now let's talk about formatted string. Let me just show you an example when a string, when we're trying to print 2 variables that comes in strings or 2 variables. In the earlier videos, we learned to use this print name, and then we can use a addition operator and print, say, age. All right. Now, notice this name, right? This name is a string. This age is going to be a integer because we did not enclose it with a quotation mark. So when you try to use this method to print, all right, you will not be able to, Python will throw you an error. Let's take a look. Okay, I'm going to run line 31 to 33. All right, now it gives another type error, and it says that it can only concatenate strings and not integer. So when we want to print out Tony and Tony's age, but if the age is not a string, then there will be an error. Now, if we bound it with a quotation marks and we print, it will not throw us an error. In fact, it will just put Tony 30. And if we want, we could actually include a white space in between. And so the print becomes neater, right? So this is how we have used this kind of formatting to print, right? Now, sometimes we might want to include maybe some other strings, and the more strings you add in this print function using this kind of format, the messier it will become. So let me give you an example. If I say I want to include another string called your name is, okay, and I'm going to close this, bound this by 1 set of parentheses, and I'm going to use a @ sign. All right, and then I'm going to print with another set of strings, and I'll say your age is. All right, and I'm going to use the plus operator. So essentially, I'm going to concatenate your name is Tony, which comes from here. Your age is the variable, all right, that comes from line 32. Okay, so let's take a look and run this code line 31 to 33. All right, so this works, all right? This works because it is the most common way of printing, all right? Now, If you do not want to convert or bound this and change it to an string, then once again, it will break down, right? It will throw us a type error, like what you've seen earlier. So there's a way to actually make this print a more format, to format this string for printing. Therefore, it looks neater and easier to type and cause less error. Okay, so how can we do that? All right, so I'm going to introduce to you this f strings. So let's take a look at what is f string. All right, now f string simply starts with this letter f. Okay, and we can bound whatever we want to put in with a quotation mark. All right, so this set of quotation mark will contain all the strings that we want, including numbers even. All right, so now we can include a set of two sets of curly braces. So we call this a curly braces. All right, now these curly braces will act as a placeholder, all right, to contain name and age. So let's take a look. And if I include name and then I include age in this, within this two pairs of curly braces, and now I try to print this. Okay, and let me comment out line number 33, and let's execute this code. You can see that Tony 30 will be printed out very neatly without the need of using the addition operator. If you do not have a space in between, once again, let's check out the output. There won't be a white space in between. Okay, now what we can do is we can use the other strings and include it inside this f strings. All right, so your name is, all right, with the placeholder referring to the name variable, and then I can include your age is. All right, maybe I can include another word called and your age is, a white space. So when we print this out, it looks much neater as compared to line 33, whereby you have quite a few of this addition operator. Okay, and you need to use many of this quotation, and sometimes you can throw you errors, and it's quite hard to find out where is the error. Okay, so a proper way of doing a print better would be to use f string. Okay, in Python, when you use things like this, you are writing a code that is more they call it Pythonic. Okay, so this is a more Pythonic way of writing print statement with formats. All right, so writing a print statement using f strings is considered more Pythonic. So let's take a look at the output. So I'm going to execute line 31, 32, and 35. Okay, so now this works. All right, so this works. And so I hope this makes sense to you. So in the next video, you'll learn a function which allow a user to enter his or her information and incorporate the things that you have learned so far. So it'll be more interesting. Yeah, so see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.